What's up, everybody? Hope your guys' quarantine is going well. I know I've been missing you guys, and I definitely have been missing my reading group. We've been reading the Percy Jackson series. We're on the second book called The Sea of Monsters. And what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be uploading a couple chapters every day for you guys. So, we haven't finished this book yet. My reading group didn't finish this book yet, but whoever wants to sit in and listen to me read and wants to follow the continuation of the story, you can. But we're almost done with the Sea of Monsters, so I could describe what's been going on and everything, but I feel like most of you guys have read the Percy Jackson books or have seen the movies. But basically, Percy, it goes on a quest with Annabeth and Clarice to find Grover, who is being held hostage by a Cyclops who wants to marry him. If you guys don't know who Grover is Percy's satyr friend. That means he's half goat, half human. And we're towards the end where they just got the magic fleece from the Cyclops and have rescued Grover. So now we find them in Miami. And so we're on chapter 17. It says we get a surprise on Miami Beach. I wonder what the surprise is. Percy, wake up! Salt water splashed my face. Annabeth was shaking my shoulder. In the distance, the sun was setting behind a city skyline. I could see a beachside highway lined with palm trees, storefronts glowing with red and blue neon, a harbor filled with sailboats and cruise ships. Miami, I think, Annabeth said, but the hippocampi are acting funny. Sure enough, our fishy friends had slowed down and were whinnying and swimming in circles, sniffing the water. They didn't look happy. One of them sneezed. I could tell what they were thinking. This is as far as they'll take us, I said. Too many humans, too much pollution. We'll have to swim to shore on our own. None of us was very psyched about that, but we thanked Rainbow and his friends for the ride. Tyson cried a little. He unfastened a makeshift saddle pack he'd made, which contained his toolkit and a couple of other things he'd salvaged from the Birmingham wreck. He hugged Rainbow around the neck, giving him soggy mango he picked up on the island, and said goodbye. Once the hippocampi's white manes disappeared into the sea, we swam for shore. The waves pushed us forward, and in no time we were back in the mortal world. We wandered along the cruise line docks, pushing through crowds of people arriving for vacations. Porters bustled around with carts of luggage, taxi drivers yelled at each other in Spanish and tried to cut in line for customers. If anybody noticed us 5 kids dripping wet and looking like they had just had a fight with a monster, they didn't let on. Now that we were back among mortals, Tyson's single eye had blurred from the mist. Grover had put on his cap and sneakers. Even the fleece had transformed from a sheepskin to a red and gold high school leather jacket with a large glittery omega on the pocket. Annabeth ran to the nearest newspaper box and checked the date on the Miami Herald. She cursed. June 18th? We've been away from camp 10 days? That's impossible, Clarice said, but I knew it wasn't. Time traveled differently in monstrous places. Thalia's tree must be almost dead, Grover wailed. We have to get the fleece back tonight. Clarice slumped down on the pavement. How are we supposed to do that? Her voice trembled. We're hundreds of miles away. No money, no ride. This is just like the Oracle said. It's your fault, Jackson, if you hadn't interfered. Percy's fault, Annabeth exploded. Clarice, how can you say that? You're the biggest. Stop it, I said. Clarice put her head in her hands. Annabeth stomped her foot in frustration. The thing was, I'd almost forgotten this quest was supposed to be Clarice's. For a scary moment, I saw things from her point of view. How would I feel if a bunch of heroes had butted in and made me look bad? I thought about what I'd overheard in the boiler room of the CSS Birmingham. Ares yelling at Clarice, warning her that she better not fail. Ares wouldn't care less about the camp, but Clarice made him look bad. So guys, Clarice is the daughter of Ares, if you didn't know that. And so, it was actually Clarice's quest in the first place, and Annabeth and Percy pretty much piggybacked onto the quest because they didn't think that Clarice was going to save Grover in time, and so now they feel like they messed it up. I'm probably just going to be explaining what's going on to those who are just tuning in about what's going on in the book. So if I pause, that's what's going on, and I'll be explaining things to you guys. All right, I'm going to keep reading. Clarice, I said, what did the Oracle tell you exactly? She looked up. I thought she was going to tell me off, but instead she took a deep breath and recited her prophecy. You shall sail the iron ship with warriors of bone. You shall find what you seek and make it your own. But despair, for you lived and tumbled with stone, and fail without friends to fly home alone. It's pretty ominous. Ouch, Grover mumbled. No, I said. No, wait a minute, I've got it. I searched my pockets for money and found nothing but a golden drachma. Does anybody have any cash? Annabeth and Grover shook their heads morosely. Oof, that's a word. Clarice pulled a wet Confederate dollar from her pocket and sighed. Cash? Tyson asked hesitantly. Like green paper. I looked at him. Yeah. Like the kind in duffel bags? Yeah, but we lost those bags like days ago. I stuttered to a halt as Tyson rummaged in his saddle pack and pulled out the Ziploc bag full of cash that Hermes had included in our supplies. Tyson, I said, how did you... Thought it was a feed bag for Rainbow, he said. Found it floating in the sea, but only paper inside. Sorry. So, Tyson isn't really the smartest person because he is a Cyclops. But Percy and him are technically brothers because Percy's dad is Poseidon, the sea god. And Tyson is a Cyclops, which Poseidon makes when he marries a magical being, and he is the product of that marriage. Yes, and so they're technically brothers, but Tyson is kind of not the smartest, but he has very other redeeming features. He will always be loyal to Percy, and he is very strong, and he helped them beat the Cyclops, the bad Cyclops that they met on their quest, not the good one like Tyson is. You guys smelling when I'm stepping in? All right, good. He said, but only paper inside, sorry. He handed me the cash, 5s and 10s and at least $300. I ran to the curb and grabbed a taxi that was just letting out, a family of cruise passengers. Clarice, I yelled. Come on, you're going to the airport. Annabeth, give her the fleece. I'm not sure which of them looked more stunned as I took the fleece leather jacket from Annabeth and tucked the cash into his pocket and put it in Clarice's arms. Clarice said, you'd let me? It's your quest, I said. We only have enough money for one flight. Besides, I can't travel by air. Zeus would blast me into a million pieces. That's what the prophecy meant. You fell without frames, meaning you'd need our help, but you'd have to fly home alone. You have to get to the fleece, back safely. I could see her mind working, suspicious at first, wondering what trick I was playing, then finally deciding I meant what I said. She jumped in the cab. You can count on me, I won't fail. Not failing would be good. The cab peeled out in the cloud of exhaust. The fleece was on its way. Percy, Annabeth said. Percy, Annabeth said. That was so generous, Grover offered. Insane, Annabeth corrected. You're betting the lives of everybody at camp that Clarice will get the fleece safely back by tonight? It's her quest, I said. She deserves a chance. Percy is nice, Tyson said. Percy is too nice, Annabeth grumbled, but I wouldn't help thinking that maybe, just maybe, she was a little impressed. I surprised her anyway, and that wasn't an easy thing to do. Come on, I told my friends. Let's find another way home. That's when I turned and found a sword's point at my throat. Hey, cuz, said Luke. Welcome back to the States. So Luke is the son of Hermes, who is helping out the evil Titan Kronos come back to life so he can basically restart the world and so the gods can have more power. But Luke doesn't realize he's being used, but we'll get to that point later. So he said, "Hey, cuz," said Luke. "Welcome back to the States." His bear man thugs appeared on either side of us. One grabbed Annabeth and Grover by the t-shirt collars. The other tried to grab Tyson, but Tyson knocked him into a pile of luggage and roared at Luke. "Percy," Luke said calmly, "tell your giant to back down or I'll have Aureus bash your friends' heads together." Aureus grinned and raised Annabeth and Grover off the ground, kicking and screaming. "What do you want, Luke?" I growled. He smiled, the scar rippling on the side of his face. He gestured toward the end of the dock, and I noticed that should have been obvious. The biggest boat in port was the Princess Andromeda. "Why, Percy?" Luke said. "I want to extend my Why, Percy?" "Oh, sorry. Why, Percy," Luke said. "I want to extend my hospitality, of course." Reading is hard sometimes. It's hard for everybody. The Bear twins herded us aboard the Princess Andromeda. They threw us down on the aft deck in front of the swimming pool with sparkling fountains that sprayed into the air. A dozen of Luke's assorted goons, snake people, Lastrygonians, demigods in battle armor, had gathered to watch us get some hospitality. "And so the fleece," Luke mused. "Where is it?" He looked us over, prodding my shirt with the tip of his sword poking Grover's jeans. "Hey," Grover yelled, "that's real goat fur under there." "Sorry, old friend," Luke smiled. "Just give me the fleece, and I'll leave you to return to your, little nature quest." "Blah!" Grover protested. "Some old friend." "Maybe you didn't hear me." Luke's voice was dangerously calm. "Where is the fleece?" "Not here," I said. I probably shouldn't have told him anything, but it felt good to throw the truth in his face. "We sent it on ahead of us. You messed up." Luke's eyes narrowed. "You're lying. You couldn't have." His face reddened as a horrible possibility occurred to him. "Clarice?" I nodded. "You entrusted. You gave?" "Yeah." "Agrius!" The bear giant flinched. "Yes?" "Get below and prepare my steed. Bring it to the deck. I need to fly to the Miami airport fast." "But, boss, do it!" Luke screamed, "or I'll feed you to the Drakon." The bearman gulped and lumbered down the stairs. Luke paced in front of the swimming pool, cursing in ancient Greek, gripping his sword so tight his knuckles turned white. The rest of Luke's crew looked uneasy. Maybe they'd never seen their boss so unhinged before. I started thinking, if I could use Luke's anger, get him to talk so everybody could hear how crazy his plans were. I looked at the swimming pool, at the fountain spraying mist into the air, making a rainbow in the sunset, and suddenly I had an idea. "You've been toying with us all along," I said. "You wanted us to bring you the fleece and save you the trouble of getting it." Luke scowled. "Of course, you idiot, and you've messed everything up." "Traitor!" I dug my last gold drachma out of my pocket and threw it at Luke. As I expected, he dodged it easily. The coin fell into the spray of rainbow-colored water. I hope my prayer will be accepted in silence. I thought with all my heart, "Oh, goddess, accept my offering." "You tricked all of us," I yelled at Luke. "Even Dionysus at Camp Half-Blood." Behind Luke, the fountain began to shimmer, but I needed everyone's attention on me, so I uncapped Riptide. "Ooh, it's getting good." Luke just sneered. "This is no time for heroics, Percy. Drop your puny little sword, or I'll have you killed sooner rather than later." "Who poisoned Thalia's tree, Luke?" "I did, of course," he snarled. "I already told you that. I used Elder Python venom straight from the depths of Tartarus." "Chiron had nothing to do with it?" "Ha! You know he would never do that. The old fool wouldn't have the guts." "You call it guts? Betraying your friends, endangering the whole camp?" Luke raised his sword. "You don't understand the half of it. I was going to let you take the fleece. Once I was done with it." That made me hesitate. Why would he let me take the fleece? He must have been lying. But I couldn't afford to lose his attention. "You were going to heal Kronos," I said. "Yes, the fleece magic would have sped his mending process by tenfold. But you haven't stopped us, Percy. You've only slowed us down a little." "And so you poisoned the tree? You betrayed Thalia? You set us up all to help Kronos destroy the gods?" Luke gritted his teeth. You know that. Why do you keep asking me?" "Because I want everybody in the audience to hear you." "What audience?" Then his eyes narrowed. He looked behind him, and his goons did the same. They gasped and stumbled back. Above the pool, shimmering in the rainbow mist, was an iris message vision of Dionysus, Tantalus, and the whole camp in the dining pavilion. They sat in stunned silence, watching us. "Well," Dionysus dryly, "some unplanned dinner entertainment." "Mr. D, you heard him," I said. "You all heard Luke. The poisoning of the tree wasn't Chiron's fault." Mr. D sighed. "I suppose not. The iris message would be a trick. The iris message could be a trick," Tantalus suggested, but his attention was mostly on his cheeseburger, which he was trying to corner with both his hands. "I fear not," Mr. D said, looking with distaste at Tantalus. "It appears I shall have to reinstate Chiron as activities director. I suppose I do miss the old horse's pinochle games." Tantalus grabbed the cheeseburger. It didn't bolt away from him. He lifted it in front of the plate and stared at it in amazement, as if it were the largest diamond in the world. "I got it!" he cackled. "We were no longer in need of your service, Tantalus," Mr. D announced. Tantalus looked stunned. "What? But you may return to the underworld. You are dismissed." "No! But no!" As he dissolved into mist, his fingers clutched at the cheeseburger, trying to bring it to his mouth. But it was too late. He disappeared, and the cheeseburger fell back onto its plate. The campers exploded in cheering. Luke bellowed with rage. He slashed his sword through the fountain, and the iris meshes dissolved, but the deed was done. I was feeling pretty good about myself until Luke turned and gave me a murderous look. "Kronos was right, Percy. You're an unreliable weapon. You need to be replaced." I wasn't sure what he meant, but I didn't have time to think about it. One of his men blew a brass whistle, and the deck floors and the deck doors flew open. A dozen more warriors poured out, making a circle around us, the brass tips of their spears bristling. Luke smiled at me. "You'll never leave this boat alive." End of chapter 17. So, I will be reading a chapter for you guys every day. I'll be uploading my video around, let's say around 11:30 or noon every day. But I hope you guys keep tuning in, and I hope you guys are having a good time. I know times are hard right now, and we really want to go outside and play and go on hikes and things like that, but you guys should stay home as much as possible so you guys remain healthy and keep those around you healthy as well. So hope you guys keep tuning in, and you guys have a good rest of your day.